This mount has quite a bounce to it. That's a resource totem, a monument left behind by those that picked scrap, trying to keep the area clean. The board mainly has posts from those that used to work at the CHUGYARD back in the days gone. They don't make much sense these days. Not much more to say about the board, but Gizmo is holed up in the underyard here working on that Mekton of his. The Toxanol Corporation used to run chugger-chuggers out of here, big machines on rails with smokestacks that fouled the air. The rails used to be filled with chugs packed tight with two-leggeds, like guppos in a tin. You're on the right track. Keep your eyes open. It's so vibrant out during daylight. Tribes always scavenging for scrap, and the yard has plenty to go around. But they should have stuck to looting instead of playing around with sprockets. Good fun. Bompa Bonker's busy ram-banging the door. This is your chance. A story has got to keep moving forward. Let's see. Concussion. Yes, you can do anything. The sky's the limit. Now, let's take this back to Earth. Wow, you really took that all the way down to the end, in flames. It's a wonder some of these up and downs still work. Guess they built machines better in the past. The spent nuclear fuel, the toxinol dumped in the surf, had detrimental effects on the marine habitats, while the overflowing landfills contaminated the groundwater. Combined, this sent their world hurtling. I need to brush up on my Wando, but I have a feeling he believes it was you that caused the bang at the yard. Gizmo... But Gizmo says how you experience a memory can be different. You know the story, but sometimes the truth it brings is personal. He hopes you remember that one time he taught you to upcycle, and hopes you've had some use for it over the years. Gizmo says he also has re-memories from the long gone, but unlike you, he doesn't think of the past, for it's gone. He understands history made Loopa-Loopin a big part of your past, your present, and soon, your future. You still believe there's... He says you should know that what's meant to be will always find a way, but history shouldn't consume you. Gizmo understands you still have strong feelings, but urges you to keep them under control. You've witnessed firsthand what it'll lead to.
Yes, that's the way. No arguing with that.
Sometimes your gut is flat out wrong.
Don't ever doubt yourself. You are number one.
Even the dark knows you're better than this.
Stick with me. We'll rule the world.
Would like to know if you ever doubt the choices you made on the path that brought you to this point. Supposes that's all any of us can do. Hard to believe the world is actually going to survive. Just seemed impossible till now. Understand. Wonders if you liked working with the Myriad. They always seem so centered and so... Figures everyone does. They seem unusually dedicated to finding them. But that's not important now. Gizmo says it's taken a long time to bring the past up to the present, and where you go from here is up to you. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the underyard as he has no protection against the vacuum in the dead zone. So you need to salvage scrap to upcycle the Mekton, starting with the old crate outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the Mekton strong enough to fight. That's what he decided to call it after he saw it for the first time. It's big and fluffy. That's accurate enough. If you can see past the blue color, that is. The light is nearly blinding. There's short of breath and death to this zone. Better take care. He who half breathes, half lives. Gulp in some air. That's the leftover you're looking for. You move with such confidence. That's a good find. What do you think of this place? Don't fall. He says that's enough to get the Mechton functional. You'll have an engine, a fuel soaker, a gun, and a gathering net, but no armor, nor enough oxygen supply. Something he devised to salvage valuables from the ground. There are usually spots hidden beneath puddles of oily goo where you can use the net. He's been working on another project for the Mechton, a cannon, but it needs ammunition, and by that he means the scripts. He says if they're trained right, they'll turn into a distraction for the jumbo puff. The best way to find scripts is to go talk to Moog. He knows the ins and outs of every breathing thing left alive after the apocalypse. Unfortunately, this means you'll have to venture farther out into the dead zone than Moog's camp on the steep depot. Once you find Moog, he'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find scripts. The Grease Monkey's Mechton is built sturdy, just like himself. Can you imagine how this place used to look before the dead oil flood? How many... Might want to hold your breath before you head any further. You're about to witness the breathtaking vistas of what's known as the Dead Zone. In the old world, roads like this really led somewhere. Now, most of them lead to disaster. That over there is Steepo Depot, the cliffside that Moog hangs on to. Do it on your own. What a waste. brains need more airtime than this. You can take all the hits. Enough of that. Smell that burning fuel. This one's impressed to see you out here. He figured you'd be dead by now. Not many. Says a monster hunter hears many things on the wind. Moog says that all your power doesn't do you a bit of good if you're not willing to pull the trigger when the time comes. Out there, you might have a steady aim, but you need to be sure that you pick your targets with care. It's hard to make those life or death decisions for others, but someone's got to do it. Otherwise, they'll do it themselves, and you know they'll miss. Gets why you're thinning the herd so hard, but he wishes you'd leave some monsters for everybody else. Says you should give up on working with the stubborn myriad. He's afraid you're just as stubborn as them. But enough of that, right? He's not sure about their veggie diet anymore, and if it's changed, who knows what it's done with the chemical composition of their body output. Right now, though, he feels he's come to a point where he's got a... thinks that it all hangs on the tree of life. When it started to fail, everything changed. Moog says you must learn to walk before you can run. It takes practice before you can call yourself a monster hunter. There's no better place to start than a squip cave. Hunting down a couple of these little critters for yourself should keep you on your toes. Says you stick to the hunting and shots present themselves later. Where would you like to take this metallomech? Wait, it's the scrip hole-up. Place is just filled with critters. Blasting everything with hits. Hear that? It's called quiet. Biohazard makes your skin crawl. Once the volatilization from the nuclear waste evaporated, a volatile gas rose through the soil and infested structures, even Toxanol's own buildings. So, in a way, they caused their own death.